Yeah. Yeah, what's going on with you? You all right? Taking care of business? I love seeing those smiles because your smile lights up the room. Doesn't it? Have you ever noticed that? People are smiling, man, just radiating and beaming. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it. And sometimes I'll do just about anything to get people to smile. I've been known to do that. Tell jokes that aren't even funny. But because people, feel sorry for me, they laugh. You know what I'm saying? They go, oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, that's funny, James. Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, James. I appreciate it. But it still works, right? It still works. Because, you don't have to wait for somebody to make you laugh. Do you know that? I'd like to prove it to you. Can I demonstrate? I did this at a seminar I did up at the Kanuga retreat. And whoever would like to participate, just follow my lead. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Oh, he, he. Woohoo! Now, how did that feel? You know what happened when you did that? You started releasing endorphins into your brain. You started releasing endorphins into your body. You began healing your body and healing your mind just by laughing. And you can do that anytime you want. You're driving down the road, somebody cuts you off. Just laugh. Ha, 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 ha. Right? Make a joke out of it. How many know you can make a joke out of anything? Anybody here want to be enlightened? Well, tell the person next to you, say, lighten up. That's the fastest way to become enlightened is to lighten up. Right? Smile a little bit. Radiate. When somebody's smiling, they are the most beautiful. Right? It's a wonderful blessing when you're smiling. Yeah, when you're smiling. The whole world smiles with you. Right? Yeah, it feels really good. So put that in your tool bag and use that, would you? Because I'm going to talk to you about spiritual centering this morning. Are you centered? It's important to be centered. Because the universe itself arose from a singularity. The universe arose from a singularity. An infinitely small point containing infinitely high concentration of matter. And it blew up. And it is ever expanding. The universe is continuing to expand. I know. When I was gaining a little weight, I would get those pants where they had the expansion. Yeah, because my universe was expanding. And we're living in an expanding universe. It's beautiful. The galactic center, that's what you're seeing up there on the screen. That's part of the galactic center. That's what it looks like. And you know what it is? It is a supermassive black hole. Ooh. It's called the Sagittarius A star. And it has the mass of 4 million suns. Now that's some mass. Right? That's some mass, isn't it? Can you even visualize or imagine 4 million suns? Whew. Wow. That's a lot. Would you say that's a lot? It really is. And so we know that this universe is spiraling. It's spiraling. It's a divine circle. It's a divine circle. And the circle is a universal symbol. Anybody have one of these? Right? God is a circle, not a straight line. Divinity is circular. Infinity is a continuous circle, spiral, right? And it represents the notions of totality, wholeness, original perfection, the self, the infinite, eternity, timelessness. It is all cyclic movement. We have the seasons, don't we? They one after the other. It's a circle, a cycle, a spiral. Right now we're spiraling into what? Autumn or fall. And we'll see the leaves start to fall. And you'll be out there in your yard raking them. And the person in the next yard has all the trees and they've all blown into your yard. And you're just going to be out there going, ha, 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 ha. Right? Right? Absolutely. See, we all are part of the spiral dance of life. We're all part of that spiral. Your journey is a spiral, isn't it? It's not a straight line. We did not end up in Greenville, South Carolina in a straight line. We didn't know we were supposed to be here, Lee and I. We were guided and directed the whole time and didn't even know it. And here we are. You know? It was our journey, our path to walk. You know? And it's a beautiful thing. A lot of times we think, well, you know, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Yeah. And how many people actually do that? Not even my GPS does that. Right? So why are you taking me this way? I don't get it, you know. And so, this is where we all came from, is the center, which is the very heart of God. The very heart of God is where you and I came from. Isn't that amazing? Think about that. We were birthed out from the womb of divinity. Yeah. The womb of divinity. The heart of God. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, you're pretty unique and special. I don't know if anybody's told you that lately, but I'm telling you, you're unique and special and perfect and wonderful. Right? You are amazing. And I'm not saying that just to be flattering you because I'm trying to get something out of you. Right? I'm telling you that because it's absolutely true. You are unique. And your path that you walk is different than anybody else's. Only you will walk the path that you walk. In the way that you do it. According to your understanding. But the key, how many understand there is a key? Because there's two ways you can live this life. One, you can be conscious of it. And the second one is to be unconscious. I don't know about you, but I was unconscious for a long time before I realized, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? Started to pay attention and give my attention to what's going on. When you start putting your focus, then you started to see that spiraling. And you don't spiral out of control. That's the unconsciousness where you're thinking, oh, what happened? But you're going with the spiral. You're going with the dance of life. See, it is a dance, and we're all dancing with life. We're dancing in this spiral dance. And it speaks of rebirth and growth. And we're all expanding just because we live in a universe that is ever expanding. So we, too, are expanding in every way that we can. And it is important to know that the universe we live in is in constant motion. We are spiraling through our cycles. Just as there's winter, spring, summer, fall, in the outer world there's also the winter, spring, summer, fall inside of you. Do you know what season you're in? Do you know what part of the spiral that you're on right now? Are you having to lose some things in your life that you didn't really need? You thought you needed, but you were so attached to it, but now the leaves are falling off, the things are falling away. How many know before a rocket can take off, there's stages that have to fall away from it? And it's the same with you and I. There are things in our life that we have to let go of. And we go through this period of winter that we might call, it's a little harsh, it gets a little cold, and the temperatures drop, and there's no leaves on the tree, and things don't look as pretty, And we're thinking, oh, why am I going through this? Well, that's the season that you're in. That's the part of the spiral dance that you're in. You're probably in an outer loop at that time. Right? So when you're in that outer loop, it's like you're looking back and you're saying, oh, goodness gracious. I feel so far away from my goals. I feel so far away from where I feel like I need to be. But the truth of it is, the spiral will come back around. You see that? And then you know what it'll do? It'll go around again. A little more expanded. You might look at your life and say, hey, I've been here before. I've done this before. I've made this mistake before. I don't understand why it's still around. Well, it's because it's cyclical, right? It's spiral. It's circular, see? And so the key of it is as you expand, as the spiral goes out, you begin to gain perspective. And you gain a sense of spaciousness, inner space between you and what's going on around you. Yeah, there's still crazy people out there. That's the sixth principle of unity, crazy people out there, right? If it's not really, but it should be, you know what I mean? Yeah. And there's stuff happening all the time, all the time, all the time. But the key is to remember that you're on your path, your journey, and that's where your focus needs to be. And the people around you, yeah, you can pray for them, you can work with them, you can help them, you can assist them. But here's the thing. Everybody's got to walk their own path. Right? We're here to help each other on the journey, but we all have to walk our path. And the best way to get where you need to go is to go through your challenge. Go through whatever door stands in front of you. Open that door. Oh, it's a round handle. Isn't that interesting? And walk through. Go through things. Go through the challenge. Because that's the quickest way to get to where you need to be. If you stay in avoidance, I don't want to look at it. Ooh, oh man, I don't want to see this. I don't like this. Why is this happening to me? You walk around like that. Ooh, I don't want to see that. Oh, I don't like that. But if you go with eyes wide open, your circular eyes, isn't that interesting? Your spiral ears, your circular head, your intestines, circular. The arteries running through your body, spiraling through your body, flooding blood and oxygen and nutrition throughout your body. It's amazing. It's all a spiral, isn't it? It's all circular. What comes in must go out. Every morning when you get up, what's the first thing you do? Is release and let go. Right? Physically. But you also need to do it mentally and spiritually. Because when you do that, you bring yourself back to what? The center. I want to bring myself back to the center. I want to be connected with my center. Because when I'm coming from the center, wow, things work. Trees have rings, don't they? Trees have rings. There are vines that, when we got our house next door here, when we first moved here in 2008, we moved into the stone house next door and had these vines that were everywhere. We thought, oh, aren't they beautiful, Well, it wasn't very long before they were encroaching on the windows where you couldn't see out. And they were, they were getting into everything. So eventually we had to start cutting them back, you know. It was amazing. Snails. You ever see a snail? The spiral shells and the seashells. You ever pick one up and listen to the ocean? Yeah. Tornadoes. Spirals. Yeah, do you have a little spiraling tornado that comes into your life every once in a while? Maybe they have a name, just like they do on the Weather Channel. Hello, Bertha, how are you? Henry, how's it going? You know, yeah. The tornadoes do show up once in a while, don't they? the hurricanes, the curled up snake, the twisting tree trunks, the whirlpool in the water. When you flush your commode and you run water down the sink, you know, it's all spiraling. Animal horns like ram's horns, the Native American teepees, circles and spirals. You ever eat an orange or a grape? An apple? What's it trying to tell us? How many know it's trying to tell us something? It's trying to tell us that we live in seasons and cycles, and we live in a spiral. We don't walk a straight line. I know that you think, oh, that'd be the easiest way if I just go from here to here. But it's not as interesting. And you didn't sign up for the easy seminar. You signed up for the interesting one. On the brochure, before you came into this life, you know, it says, wildly exciting. Daredevil rides. You'll be meeting all kinds of people that you will have to deal with. It is so exciting. And you say, ooh, wow. But you didn't read the fine print. So where do I sign? I'm going to this seminar. It sounds like so much fun. Oh, boy. And then you come spiraling into this life through your mother's womb. Right? And then here you are. Wow. Wow. And you say, how did I get here? And you forget everything. Isn't that interesting? You forget everything before. Because how many know you're an eternal soul? You've been around a while. Tell the person next to you, say, you are the Ancient of Days. No, no, don't tell them that. They might take that wrong. We don't make anybody feel bad this morning. The Bible says, where were you when the sons of God sang and shouted for joy? When the world was created. Where were you? Where was I in that moment? In Isaiah 40:22 it says, it is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. You see, these physical bodies are the temple or the tents of the divine. The divine spirit, the divine power dwells in each one of us. Isn't that amazing? That's powerful. And that's why we were created, to be the habitation of God. Proverbs 8:27 says, when he established the heavens, I was there. When he inscribed a circle on the face of the deep, that supermassive black hole. Wisdom was there. And wisdom in the Old Testament in Hebrew is the word Sophia. Sophia. So she was there with him, creating all things. How many know you need her as much as you need him? Right? You need knowledge, him, and you need her, wisdom. You get that? You need them both. We need the balance in us. The balance of the yin, the yang, the male, the female. We need the balance inside of us, the head and the heart. Wow. In Job 26:10 it says, He has inscribed a circle on the surface of the waters at the boundary of light and darkness. Because before there was light, there was what? Darkness. Is what Genesis chapter 1 says. Isn't that interesting? So it's all very poetic and metaphorical, but maybe there's something to it. You know what I mean? In that way. I think it's beautiful. And so we know that each one of us are part of that spiral dance of energy. There's an energy spiraling through your body. It comes through the top of your head and moves through your body all the time. And it goes down through your feet into the earth. And it grounds you, and it also enlivens you. You say, how do you know that that's in me, James? Well, because you're alive and you're not dead. There's an energy that feeds you constantly. There's some people that have the gift where they can see the energy. Sometimes I can see it around people, you know. You kind of look at somebody in kind of a soft way, and you kind of see the little outline, the little halo around their head, the little energy. And then if you get real, you know, still, and you really pay attention, it's just like, oh, yeah. And then maybe you can even see the colors. You know, because all of us are alive. And there's more going on than what you can see with your eyes. If you think science has it all figured out, they only know that much in comparison to infinity. Now, thankfully, we're grateful for what they do know, right? We love science for what they do know. That's wonderful. But there's so much more that's going on, this spiraling that's happening, you know. And I remember when I was in high school, I used to play basketball, you know. And one time, I got to shoot and hit the winning basket. That was great. That was a good moment. That was fun. And I remember, you know, I just launched it, just. And in that moment, it was like, I was waiting. Everybody was just like, and you know, it was like slow motion. You know how it is when you're in an intense moment, when you're totally engaged? It's just slow motion, and all of a sudden it goes, hits the target. Oh, that felt good. Oh, that was good. You know? The word sin in the Bible means to miss the mark. You ever seen a bullseye? What's a bullseye? It means to hit the center. We need to match up with our centers. Not center, center. Right? We need to learn how to hit the center. And here's what I recently discovered is that they were working on people, and they had them hooked up to EEG machines and EKG. One was for the heart, one was for the head. They had them both hooked up. And when you looked at the screens, they were kind of jagged, but they were totally different. Because one was the head and one was the heart, the brain and the physical heart. And so they asked the person to think about some pleasant experiences that they had. To think about the most wonderful, loving, expansive experience that they've ever had, and put their hands on their heart. And they did that. And they began to feel that in the gratitude. And there was a little bit more to it, but they went in and they had these really beautiful, positive feelings. And you know what they showed on the screens? That the jagged lines begin to round off. And after a while, the heart and the brain begin to match on the screens. Isn't that wonderful? How many know? Tony Robbins says if you're in your head, you're dead. But if you're in your heart, you're smart. I just made that up. It rhymes, you know. Because your heart is wise beyond your brain. See, you need your brain to figure out things and to be able to, make sure you don't step out in front of trucks and pay your bills on time. You know what I mean? You need your brain to strategize and things like that. It's important. But yet your brain is only limited to what it sees, feels, hears, thinks, and smells. But your heart is connected to the very center of all things, the heart of God. And your heart knows things that your head doesn't know. And so when you sync up your head and your heart, your brain, in other words, when you get up in the morning, you're sitting on the edge of the bed, you take in a breath and you go, oh, I'm so grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful to go to work today. I'm grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my food. I'm grateful I have 2 feet. I can stand up. I'm grateful for my breath. You just on and on and on. And then you sync up your heart with your head. See? Wow. And what happens when you do that, you start getting divine ideas that begin to spiral into your conscious awareness. Spiraling into your mind. You go, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, that's the way I can look at that I can see it differently than I've seen it before. Does that make sense? I mean, that's important. Because if you see things in the same way you've always seen them, you'll always keep getting what you're seeing. That's a different take on that same, So it's important to sync up the head and the heart. I started to say head and the heart. The head and the heart. You got to know where they're at, too. But then you learn to feel, and you become sensitive to your heart. Do you know what? Your heart won't let you steal from anybody. True? Your heart won't let you cheat anybody. Your heart. See, that's what Jesus was talking about when he said, love God with all your heart. See? Because you're syncing up. You're centering yourself. There's chaos going on all around, but hey, I'm at the center of the storm. I'm in the center of the hurricane, and I'm just fine. Thank you very much. Because there's perfect calm in the midst, in the center of the hurricane, in the center of the storm, the center of a tornado. Now, your circumstances, they may be all out of whack, right? But it's maybe the cycle, the season you're going through in the moment. But it's a beautiful thing because you're going to spiral back to where you need to be. Right? I promise you that you will spiral back. I've talked to people from time to time who want to commit suicide. And in that moment, they're spiraling out of control. They feel like they have no reason to live. They're depressed. And they're stuck in the black hole, in the void. And I tell them, hang on a little bit, get a new perspective, and things will change. You hear what I'm saying? Hang on, get a new perspective, and your situation will change. And you will spiral back around, and you'll return back to your center where you need to be. Are you with me this morning? How many know that we can do that for ourselves? When you're centered, you help me to be centered. When you're in alignment with yourself, you help me to be in alignment with myself. You help everybody else too. Isn't that great? See, you can go crazy if you want to because the world's crazy, but then we're just all crazy. And that makes no sense. So, by you being at peace, by centering yourself, wow, this is a beautiful thing. Back in 2009, the Norwegian spiral anomaly happened. Do we have that on the PowerPoint? And, yeah, do you see it? You see the spiral? They don't know what that was. They have no idea. You know what it is? It is a symbol, it is a sign to us that we need to get centered. We need to find our true spiritual center. whatever it was. Whether it was a rocket ship or who knows, or somebody, who knows what it was for sure. You know what I'm saying? So, I remember back when I was a kid, I would watch Twilight Zone. They had the spiral. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you'll feel like you're in the Twilight Zone, right? But that's part of the spot. It's part of the dance. You see what I'm saying? Are you getting this morning? So close your eyes now. And if you'd like to, I invite you to put your hand over your heart, or at least put your attention upon your heart. And I want you to feel the gratitude, the appreciation. Notice the beating of your heart. It's a beautiful thing. That heart is working for you. It's beating for you. And as you become aware of your inner self, of your heart, it begins to sync up with your brain. And you feel more centered and more at peace. More at peace. And if you let yourself, you can go deeply into that peace. I am so grateful for my life. I am centered. I am whole. I am well. And I give thanks now in the name of the beauty of the Christ and all that is holy and sacred. Amen. Amen. All right. Thank you for listening this morning.